So I guess we should address this elephant in the room first. Morten, are you a North Korean agent, or how was it possible for you to get so much into North Korea?
If I tell you that, I will have to kill you all. So,
Torej, prvo vprašanje, jaz bom prevajala pogovor. Prvo vprašanje je bilo, če je režiser Morten severnokorejski agent, oziroma kako mu je uspelo sploh spraviti film do koncert. In je rekel, da če bi to povedal, bi nas moral.
Good luck with that, of course. Ugis, what was your vision of the movie before you came to North Korea, and how does this vision differ from the movie that you've just seen?
well, the biggest thing is that when you go there, you have only your preconceptions, and in my part of the world, the only information or knowledge you can get about such a place as North Korea is from what media writes, says, and broadcasts. So actually, it's very unreliable position to start from, and that is why the basic idea starting this film was to show what happened and show it from our perspective, without making too much context that we cannot be sure of. And also the biggest lesson for me is that actually in this time of when information is such a huge weapon which can divide people and also maybe unite them, the only true knowledge you can have is the one that you gather yourself with your own senses. So that was my journey during making this film.
Torej, drugi režiser filma, Ugis Olte, je povedal, da se pač vse, kar mi vemo o Severni Koreji, naprej je izvirno iz medijev in da so hoteli s tem filmom pokazati iz druge perspektive zgodbo, se pravi iz perspektive, kjer ni nobenega konteksta, o katerem ne bi bili popolnoma prepričani na lastne oči.
Ja, v redu, Ivan, when North Koreans heard you for the first time practicing, which they obviously wanted to do as fast as soon as possible, what were they most disturbed by?
Jaz bi samo izkoristil to priliko, da povem nekaj glasno problematičnega.
Okay.
Rad bi se zahvalil Mortenu za super film in Ugisu in konkretni ekipi filmski, ki je bila z nami. Rad bi se zahvalil naši ekipi iz skupine Laibach, vsem sodelavcem v tehnični ekipi. Večina je tukaj, nekaj, ki ostalo v Severni Koreji. Dvojica Benka, Primoža Hladnika in Mino Špilo smo založili v Severni Koreji za film, da ne bo ok in konkret, ampak mislim, da bo vse v redu, naslednjič pa z nami. Odgovor, kaj je bilo najbolj...
Ja, mislim, kaj je bilo recimo pač za Korejce najbolj sporno, ko so vas prvič slišali?
Najbolj sporno je bilo to, oni njihov prvi lider, glavni, prvi njihov oče, njihov Tito, Kim Il-sung, je napisal neko skladbo z naslovom Nostalgija. Sam je napisal, mi smo hoteli to tudi prirediti, ampak pol pač nismo, smo odločili za druge skladbe, ampak to lahko najdete na YouTube v slanu, tako kot približno poje naš vokalist, približno z istim glasom. In tukaj je še do glavnega konflikta, skratka, to pač tam gre težko skozi. I think more can understand.
And me.
Ni treba.
Morten, when you had your first dinner with this cultural committee, how come that Mr. Hugh, that was saying like Laibach is that they mock totalitarian regimes, etc. He was saying like that he hadn't heard Laibach before. He was speaking like that. How come?
If I tell you that, I have to kill you. Okay, I won't repeat that. But I will answer your question. But before, I would like just to follow up on what the dear leader started especially since we are here in Ljubljana, in Laibach. I think it's time to give a little bit respect to those where it's due. And of course you have already given a good hand to the brave and crazy people who wanted to know all the way to North Korea with us and back. But also, you know, speaking as somebody who's on whom the influence of Laibach and Laibach's not only music but also the Laibach's way of looking at the world cannot be overstated. I would also like to thank another person who's here today, which is Dejan Knez. Dejan, would you like to? Also, we are actually using quite a lot of Slovenian talent in this film, both in the film itself and behind the camera. So I would like to, again, with much love, thank our brilliant Slovenian co-producing company, our old horses in Stara Gara. Then relax, it's not that many people left. I think it's important to yes, since we have the chance tonight. I would also like to say hello and I love you, and I would like you to clap as well for our distributors, Demiurg, who have done a great job in making this video. Maybe he wasn't as happy with the movie as we thought. And not least, I would like to say, you know, a big shout out to our brilliant animators from Composter, Akasha Bojic and Luka Umek. And I'm sure there are some people I'm forgetting, but you can beat me up afterwards. But one person who I should not forget is our Latvian director of everything, our Latvian producer, Uldis Čekulis, who is without whom. Okay, and then the answer. What made me very happy with Mr. Liu's welcome speech, and I think I was the only person in the room who was happy with it.
Oh, we were happy too.
No, you were not. No, you were not. Was that having worked with him and other people for you know, with different projects over many years and a common understanding, he actually did a brilliant piece of performance. It was a performance from his side, and a quite Leibachian performance as well, where he used the language of power, both in a very serious, but at the same time, not serious way. So I felt a little bit like this Japanese guy in Karate Kid, when Karate Kid wins the competition. I have raised him well.
Torej, v enem od začetnih prizorov vidimo gospoda Rija, ki jih sprejme z nagovorom, v katerem jih pravzaprav zmerja, da so grozna skupina. In zdaj je režiser to komentiral, da je z gospodom Rijem pravzaprav že velikrat sodeloval in da se je seveda, da je gospod Rij naredil nastop iz tega in seveda res ne misli resno, ampak je samo poskušal uporabljati isti jezik, se pravi jezik neke oblasti in preko tega se ne le norčevati, ampak narediti nek performance.
Zdaj me pa zanima, če ima kdo slučajno že kako vprašanje za naše goste. Mikrofoni prihajajo, kolegi pa po desni, če pa ste na balkonu, se boste pa mogoče mogli malo zadreti.
Ali pa rožljac na kitom.
Okay, so then, Ugis, I have a question for you. You said about your previous films in one interview that any place you go is a magic mirror. You can see reflections of your own world without seeing the image of yourself. So, how did your world reflect in North Korea?
Well, it's nice that you are prepared.
Yeah, of course.
I think it stands true anytime, and even if you go to your neighbor village in your own country, it's still a magic mirror that you can use to learn stuff about yourself. In this case, I became very about this phenomenon of people existing not as individuals but as a collective. That was I hadn't paid attention to this kind of existence before, and then I realized that actually there's a lot of this thing in our own Latin culture. For example, maybe you don't know, but every 4 years we have this national singing festival, and that means that it's 20,000 people in the audience and 26,000 people on stage singing as one. Of course, with a leader directing. So I thought that's it. It's all about losing yourself in the larger mass and becoming something more than individual entity. And also we have a very strong choral tradition, like choirs. Latin choirs are considered to be really good. Maybe that's also because we have some skill to lose yourself and become a voice of many easily. So that was one of the glimpses I saw in this magic mirror.
Torej, za Luči se je bilo najbolj pretresljivo videti to skupnost, ne pa posameznika, in potem ga je, ko je videl skupnost, ki deluje kot eno, ga je to spomnilo pravzaprav na pevske festivale, ki jih imajo v Latviji vsake 4 leta, kjer ogromno ljudi skupaj poje in se potem izgubijo. In hkrati se tudi spomnil na trenutke, predvsem na njihovo tradicijo pevskih zborov in na to, da ko pojejo v pevskem zboru, se v tem izgubijo. In se mu zdi, da je to ena lepa predstavitev tega, kaj pomeni biti v skupnosti, kako se zliti v skupnosti.
Ivan, a se ti zdi, da bi bilo, recimo hipotetično, za severnokorejski režim boljš, da bi bili gledalci po vašem koncertu navdušeni ali ravnodušni? Kaj bi oni preferirali?
Ja, v nekem smislu je bila to v bistvu kar, bom rekel, idealna live-ovska publika. Če bi bili zares navdušeni, bi vedeli, mislim, bi mi verjetno vedeli, da je nekaj narobe, da to ni okej. Tako da ta neka fina ravnodušnost je bila prava, mislim, tisto, se reče, vljudna ravnodušnost, ki se je pokazala. Vsi so dali to standing ovation, na koncu verjetno so to, da bi šli prej ven. Ampak bilo je vsega ravno prava doza.
A ima slučajno zdaj že to kako vprašanje? Prosim lepo. So the question is, how was it possible for you to make so many changes in 2 days, because there were like technical difficulties and censorship, and we also heard like that changing lyrics 2 days before the concert is like shot in the head, man. So how was that possible? Who were you asking?
Koga sprašujete?
Koga si vprašal?
Question for the boss. Who's the boss?
We are one.
To ni bilo v 2 dnevih. Mi smo bili tam praktično cel teden dni, še mogoče malo več. V dvorani noter, mislim, da kakšne 4 dni, we were in a venue 4 days or something. Kakšne 4 dni smo to pripravljali, tako da ni bilo samo 2 dni. Ampak trajalo je dolg časa, predno smo dobili vsaj neke te, recimo, neke osnove, da smo dejansko lahko začeli postavljati oder in program, pač koncert. Ker je šlo zelo počas, ampak načeloma smo bili pa 1 teden tam in to, cel ta proces se odvijal v 1 tednu.
Prosim.
Mene zanima glede tega filma, ga danes prvič gledamo, ali v katerih državah so ga že gledali, predvsem me pa zanima, če govojo Korejci.
Are we seeing this movie today for the first time, where it was already shown, and are the Korean and is the Korean audience gonna see the movie?
I doubt it will be a blockbuster in North Korea under the current administration, to be honest. Although I did bring it with me on my laptop when I visited North Korea last time in October, and showed it to our main heroes.
Dvomi sicer, da bo velika uspešnica film v Koreji, ampak je pa nazadnje, ko je bil v Severni Koreji na obisku, vzel ga sabo na laptopu in ga pokazal ljudem, ki so se pojavili v filmu.
And no, this is not the world premiere. The world premiere was in Amsterdam at IDFA, the world's biggest documentary festival, in November.
Premiera filma je bila v Amsterdamu na IDFI, ki je največji festival dokumentarnega filma.
Since then, it's played in Kazakhstan, United Kingdom, Italy, quite a lot of countries. But March is our crazy month. So this month we have 13 premieres in 13 countries.
Ta mesec bodo imeli 13 premier, v marcu 13 premier. Zaenkrat je bil pa film že predvajan v Kazahstanu, Veliki Britaniji in v Italiji.
But I have to confess that this was actually one of the premieres I was most nervous about.
Je bil pa najbolj živčen glede te premiere.
Mene zanima, kakšna je bila sestava publike, je bila to neka elita ali kdorkoli, ali to me zanima.
Who was in the audience? Was this elite or also like ordinary civilian people?
It's a question we get quite often, and rightly so. The audience the majority of the audience were musicians and students from music conservatories. Since Pyongyang is the capital, they have a lot of, orchestras, symphony orchestras, higher institutions for music education and so on. So our hosts. I have to be fast. Okay, translate.
Torej, v občinstvu na koncertu so bili večinoma študenti glasbe. Mudi se nam, zato da se
Yes, sorry. So the concert was free. It was, we did not take any ticket money or so on. So it was by invitation to these musicians, guilds or društva or общества, what do you call it?
Koncert je brezplačen, pravila pa so dajali predvsem različnim glasbenim šolam in društvom glasbenikov.
And their friends and families and children and so on. But in addition to that, quite interestingly, our partners in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea Committee for Cultural Relations with Foreign Countries they also invited all embassies in Pyongyang, which are more than you actually would expect. There are quite a few, both Western European embassies in Pyongyang and from many other countries. So the guy you saw, filtering live up a bit, was actually the Palestinian envoy to Pyongyang. Somebody told me he said it was like torture.
Torej, povabili so tudi predstavnike in diplomate, ki delajo na različnih veleposlaništvih v Pjongjangu. Tisti moški, ki smo ga videli, ki si je zatiskal ušesa med njihovim koncertom, pa je bil palestinski diplomat.
And then finally we managed to kind of maneuver in 30, maybe 40, like really, really hardcore live fans, who would sell the kidney of their grandmother to go to North Korea. So we made a deal with some of the tourist companies that do, because you can go as a tourist to North Korea. It's quite easy. So we made a deal with them that they would make some trips where the concert was included. So some of the people you see, shaking hands with Yanni after the concert are those, fanatismo.
Torej, na koncert je bilo vabljenih med 30 in 40 največjih oboževalcev live-ov iz celega sveta, ki jih tudi vidimo v filmu.
Ki bi prodali letvico
svoje mame, da bi lahko videla live in živo.
Bi še kdo kaj vprašal?
Ja, kaj pa tisti prevod pesme v slovenski, severnokorejski jezik, pa je izpadlo, da se tudi južnokorejsko. Kako je to izpadlo? Je bilo to izgovorjave?
Ta prevajalka, ki je prevajala te naše tekste v korejski jezik, je v bistvu bila ta lepa ženska, ki ste videli, vse so bile lepe, ampak ta je bila na naši strani interpretka Mary Sun Kim, ona je bila južna Korejka, drugač pač po rodu. In je prevajala pač v korejščino, načeloma gre za isti jezik, ampak kot ste slišali v filmu, gre za, že obstajajo razlike v jeziku in na te razlike so pač severnokorejci precej občutljivi.
šel na sprehod takrat.
V bistvu, pač bil je lep dan. Pozabil sem, da bomo šli zvečer na to neko večerjo skupno in enostavno sem šel do konca hotela in sem bil, da nimam nikoga, ki bi me sledil. Tam sem nekaj časa gledal to njihovo policistko sred ceste, kako dela svoje biomehanične vaje. In potem sem šel čez v park in se sprehajal po parku in še malo tako približno urco pa pol, približno v centru mesta, v okolici hotela. In ko sem prišel nazaj, pač so me seveda iskali desno, ker so se odpravljali vsi skup na to neko večerjo. Izven hotela, jaz pač mislil, da bomo ostali v hotelu, da nihče ne bo vlazal. Ker dejansko je tako zgledal, pač ni nobenega debit naokolo. To je vsa znanost in je zelo žal, da sem seveda naredil ta problem Morten, sorry for that I produced, it wasn't intentional, it was intentional.
It was good for the film.
So thank you.
Ima še kdo kako vprašanje? Čakajte. Vsi boste prišli. Kakšen čas? Ja.
Če na tem sprehodu on izpadal čudan prebivalcev mesta,
Ne, v bistvu ne. Mislim, ne vem, no, niso mi tega razlagali. Mislim, ni bilo kakšne hude reakcije. Ne, ni bilo kakšne hude reakcije. Pozdravljali so me normalno, če sem jaz koga pozdravil z očmi. Tudi igral sem se tam z nekimi otroci, z nekim staršem, moškim, z otrokom. Smo se žogali skupaj. In skratka, bilo je zelo tako, srečno bil nek vojak, ki je prišel do mene in me je pognal stran, ker sem se tam pač obredval neko verjetno kakšno vojaško stvar, ne vem, pač je rekel, ti pa šic, gremo na drugam. To je bilo to, no, drugače pa ni bilo kakšnih, vse oni vidijo te tujce in so čez prijazni dni. Tudi ameriški turisti prihajajo v Korejo, v Severno Korejo. Mi smo celo bili skupaj z ameriškimi turisti na obisku te njihove meje, te militarizirane meje, what's the expression?
DMZ.
Demilitarized zone, ki je zelo militarizirana, seveda skupaj z ameriškimi turisti. Skratka, sploh ni problema, vsi se lahko seveda tam prehajajo, s tem, da je več možnosti, da zadržijo kakšnega ameriškega turista, kot ste videli v filmu, kot pa recimo nas Slovence, ker z nami je res težko trgovati, z njimi pa lahko.
to vprašam, ker je bila prepoved, ni bila jasna ta prepoved, to pomeni, da ni dobro tujcev tam, kaj je to?
Ne, so, ampak pač se načeloma ne sprehajajo svobodno. No? Mislim, to je tako, kot pri nas, kad vidite te turistične horde ljudi, jih pač držijo v skupinah, da se ne bi raztepili naokoli. Vse gre podobno. Pač mi se trudimo njim pokazati Slovenijo v najboljši možni luči. Oni se pa pač tam tudi Severno Korejo prikazati. Tako da nikak nismo razlika.
Še eno vprašanje, se mi zdi, da ste pa dve hkrati.
Aha, kdo bi še te vprašal?
Jaz sem vprašala, če so bile kakšne sankcije.
Morten, in the movie we see you when you go to some censorship office and then you come back and you just say, okay, we'll perform these songs, but we never find out what really happened there.
It is censored.
So no torture.
Like I said, it's censored. No, they were. I mean, it was actually, again, I'm sorry to say, but it was very undramatic. It was very everyday. Those censors were two very sweet elderly men who apologized very much and very heartfelt that they had to do this, but it is their job. We are censors, we have to censor something.
V filmu vidimo režiserja, ko mora iti se pogovoriti s cenzorji glede tega, kaj bodo cenzurirali in zakaj in tako. In zdaj vprašanje je bilo, kaj so mu rekli, kako so mu pravzaprav razložili svojo cenzuro. Rekel je, da sta bila to pravzaprav dva starejša, zelo prijazna gospoda, ki sta samo rekla, da sta cenzorja in da pač te morate cenzurirati.
And just to set the record straight, once and for all, okay? Because there's been so many different versions in the media about how many songs were censored and how big part of the concert and so on. The original set were 12 songs, and out of those 2 were taken away.
Sprva je bilo mišljeno, da bodo na koncertu igrali 12 pesmi, na koncu pa so 10. Se pravi, 2 pesmi so morali umakniti iz programa.
So it was already a quite short concert.
Ja, tako da koncert je bil že od začetka ne bi bil pravzaprav ne
And we played
prav.
one song twice. We played one song twice.
In eno pesem so igrali.
You've got to be creative.
And actually, from my perspective, it was interesting that the second time they heard the whistleblowers, they recognized the song, and it was totally different vibe in the audience. They were like...
Pisem Whistleblowers so igrali 2-krat in ko je občinstvo slišalo drugič, je še začelo, jo je že prepoznalo in se bistveno boljše odzivalo na njo.
So these guys you were collaborating with, were they in more private moments like, okay, I know this censorship, me personally I didn't do it, but our ideology, I have to do it because of that. That happened.
Actually, one of the most surprising things for me was that I fantasized that this kind of totalitarian system means that there's a head and then there is the oppressed mass, but actually the feeling that stays is that this whole bunch of people, this whole 24 million people are the system. They are raised from the moment they come out to be part of this system. There is no private moments and official moments. It was all just one very correct and well planned.
Torej na vprašanje, torej ali so za kamerami povedali mogoče kakšne druge stvari, ali so pripravljeni celo kakšno kritiko sistema podati, je odgovor ne, da oni so v ta sistem vzgojeni in da ni razlike med tem, kakšni so oni zasebno in javno.
Because Laibach v Severnoj Koreji je zvišeno poslanstvo, ki zavezuje fanatizmu.
A ima slučajno zdaj še drugo vprašanje?
Which songs were uncensored? Which songs they didn't touch?
Have you seen the movie?
They didn't even censor even.
You mean which songs that were completely left alone?
Yes.
You mean no animations or no music censorship?
Torej, ali je bila
Do you remember?
vprašanje, ali je bila kakšna pesem popolnoma necenzurirana?
I think Whistleblowers was, we did nothing to Whistleblowers. Also, honestly, I don't remember.
Which was actually a problem. Whistleblowers, later on, we realized that it was a big problem for not being censored. Because, for instance, there's this picture on the wall of our front person. And, in North Korea, there are only 2 portraits on the wall, nothing else. Nothing else exists, no other portraits. Is that correct, Morten? Yeah. So some foreign journalists, they said what you did here was actually totally subversive, because they don't see other portraits in the wall. And in the video behind the song, you can see the portrait of...
Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, Milan Fras.
Aha, a jeste. No skratka, to je, mislim, zares ni bilo kakšne glasne cenzure, če lahko še to povem. Z veseljem smo dali tistih par koščkov filma in ene dve skladbe, zato smo lahko ostalo spravili skozi, ampak recimo, oni so se ukvarjali z zadevami, s takimi estetskimi zadevami, ne pa zares z ideološkimi problemi. Estetskimi v tem smislu, ta ritem je prepočasen, dajte to malo hitreje, ali pa te skladbe ne boste igrali. Zdaj, tukaj je preveč eksplozij, ta film, ki ga mi, je severnokorejski, to mi uporabljamo v nekem drugem kontekstu, ne morate ga uporabljati v tem kontekstu vašem, ker pač ljudje tega tukaj ne razumejo. Tudi estetski problemi, cenzura je bila glavno te vrste. To so pa ti ideološke, zares problematične ideološke stvari, smo pa lahko mirno spravili skozi tisto, kar bi lahko bilo, recimo, potencialno subverzivno. In ena takšnih primerov je bil ta naš video Whistleblowers za skladbo, mislim, se vrti za skladbo, ki igramo, kjer je portret našega frontmana, našega gospoda Frasa. In to je enostavno, to v Severni Koreji ne gre skozi, ker sta samo dva možna portreta na stenah, na uradnih stavbah in tako naprej. In to je Kim Il-sung in Kim Jong-il. Drugih portretov oni na steni ne sprejema niti Karla Marxa, niti Lenina, niti Stalina, niti nobenega predstava. To je bil prevod. Barbara, ti si?
Aha, no, temu še eno vprašanje.
Ne morem brez
koncert snimala televizija. Kdo je snimal koncert in kje bi se ga dali?
Snemali smo ga sami, če lahko resno. Snemali smo ga sami z našo ekipo, iz ekipo pač režiserja iz Rige in pa snemala ga je njihova državna televizija. Predali so nam materiale, prišli so z vsemi možnimi profesionalnimi kamerami. Del koncerta so predvajali naslednji dan na državni televiziji in del koncerta se lahko pogleda tudi na njihovem internetni strani liberationday.film. Barbara?
Ja, bom probala. Kaj je s tem dodatkom, s tem presenečenjem, Slavek Žižek analiza? A je ima kdo kakšen posebno vlogo? A je to mišljen zdaj vedno po filmih, po projekcijah, da je to za tole občinstvo?
No, to je pač, če lahko Slavek Žižek moje izgled surprise. To je pač presenečenje za tiste, ki niso vedeli, da so bo to presenečenje zgodilo. Tega presenečenja že, ki si pač te Slavojeve interpretacije niso pogledali že na netu, drugače pa ni bilo, mislim, to je pač stvar. Organizatorji so izjavili, da gre za presenečenje, ker so pač celo stvar spektakularno. Ampak to je pač Slavojeva interpretacija live v Severni Koreji. Verjetno si pa filma niti ni ogledal, no dvomim.
Jaz bi se vsem najlepš zahvalil, da ste prišli, da ste vztrajali, da ste sprašvali. Hvala pa še enkrat posebej hvala našim gostom, Mortenu Traviku, Ugisu Volkoju,